and blueberry. A lot of super easy ones. Now we have one ton. Our top banana, kiwi. Yeah.
Crap. I accidentally started too soon. Hey, you guys, get ready. I'm about ready to start this because I accidentally started it too soon.
How's the light?
I don't even think I have anybody even watching. So this is my last stream, but oh well. I'm just going to say not yet. Oh, I do have one person watching. Okay, be quiet because here I go. And you could walk around and no, can I turn it off?
Yeah. Wait, what's it like if I do this?
No, that's fine. Okay, here I go. Hi guys, welcome back to Miss Cuddy is Nutty Part 2. So we are going to find out if AJ is able to write some funny jokes so that the morning announcements can beat Dirk's school's announcement. So here we go. Chapter 7. But seriously, I spent that night practicing my jokes. The next morning, everybody was running around like crazy to get ready. I sat behind the desk. My face felt sweaty, and Emily tried to powder my nose, but I told her to leave me alone. Okay, let's do this thing, shouted Mrs. Cuddy. Are you ready, AJ? Yeah. I can't hear you. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, said Alexia. The red light lit up. Action, said Alexia. My name is AJ, and I hate the morning announcements, I said. I mean, why do we have announcements anyways? We might as well just sit at home and tell jokes instead. By the way, speaking of sitting at home, my dad used to work at a calendar factory, but he got fired. And do you know why? Why? Everybody shouted. Because he took too many days off, I said. Hey, do you know what's bad for your health? What? Everybody shouted. Too many birthdays, I said. What did Earth say to Mars? What? Everybody shouted. Get a life, I said. And speaking of dead things, do you want some of my old dead batteries? They're free of charge. But seriously, folks, what did the tie say to the hat? What? Everybody shouted. You go on ahead. I'll hang around, I said. Hey, speaking of hanging around, my mom said I was outstanding. I mean, isn't it? The players dribble all over the floor. And speaking of things, did you know that watermelons have really fancy weddings? Well, they can't elope. And then I told a few more jokes. And then Alexia gave me the sign that the time was up. Well, that's our morning announcements for today, I said. This is AJ signing off. You stay classy, elementary students. And cut, said Alexia. And the red light on top of the camera turned off. Great, AJ, said Miss Cuddy. I'd like to see Dirk's school top of that. she went over to change the channel to the Dirk morning announcements. That girl, Morgan Brocklebank, was on the screen again. Only this time she was wearing sunglasses. Please stand for the pledge, she said. And at that moment, colored lights began to flash. A drum machine started to play. Then Morgan Brocklebank started rapping. I pledge allegiance to the flag, 'cause if I don't, it's a drag. Flags are red and white and blue. Why they are, I have no clue. Dudes, she's rapping her own pledge, I said. Our beautiful and spacious skies, mountain picnics and apple pies, dig our amber waves of grain, purple mountains, fruity plain, broad stripes and bright stars, Super Bowls and fast cars. To the Republic for which it stands, now it's time to all join hands. Boy, the Pledge of Allegiance was crazy good. So, have a great day at Dirk's school, shouted Morgan Brocklebank. Miss Cuddy looked like she was going to explode. That Dirk kid did a rap version of the Pledge of Allegiance, she shouted. Why didn't we think of that? A few minutes later, Mrs. Patty came in to give us the bad news. 80 people had turned in to watch Dirk's school's announcements, and only 60 had watched ours. No, shouted Mrs. Cuddy, falling to her knees. They beat us again. Dude, I'll do better next time, I promise. I'll have the whole weekend to work on new jokes. No more jokes, Miss Cuddy shouted as she got up. Dirk School makes their morning announcement fun and lively. Our show has to be more entertaining. So I have made a big decision. We need to bring in fresh blood around here. What? Fresh blood? Gross. Why would you want to bring blood to school? If one anchor is good, then two would be twice as good, Mrs. Cuddy said. So, starting Monday, AJ, we are going to team you up with a co-anchor. And your co-anchor will be Andrea. What? Chapter 8, the worst day of my life. Oh, thank you, Andrea said. I've always wanted to be on TV. It wasn't fair. Starting the TV station was my idea, not Andrea's. I was supposed to be the anchor. This was like the worst day of my life. Should I write the script for Monday, Mrs. Cuddy? Andrea asked. No, she replied. I chose you to be the co-anchor so you and AJ can banter with each other. Banter? I asked. What does that mean? Just talk to each other, Mrs. Cuddy told us. You two have great chemistry together. Ooh, Ryan said. AJ and Andrea have great chemistry together. They must be in love. Yeah, when are you gonna get married? Asked Michael. On Monday, there were 2 chairs at the anchor desk. One for me and one for little Miss Know-It-All, Andrea, who was sitting there getting her nose powdered by Emily. The guys were working with the cameras and stuff. Hey, what about me? I shouted. Aren't you gonna powder my nose? But you told me to leave you alone, Emily replied. Well, I want my nose powdered, I shouted. 30 seconds to airtime, shouted Alexia. We were all on pins and needles. Well, I mean, not really, because if we were sitting on pins and needles, that would totally hurt. So we were just sitting on chairs. Okay, it's time to go, folks, said Mrs. Cuddy. Are my anchors ready? Yes, Andrea said. I can't hear you. Yes, we both said. Well, break a leg out there, said Miss Cuddy. What? Why would you want us to break our legs? I mean, that makes no sense at all. 3, 2, 1, said Alexia. Action. Welcome to the morning announcements, I said. My name is AJ and I hate school. And my name is Andrea and I love school, said Andrea. Should we start with the weather, Arlo? Sure, I said. The weather outside is. But I didn't get a chance to finish my sentence because Andrea interrupted me. Instead of talking about today's weather, she said, I'd like to talk about tomorrow's weather. What? I asked. Who cares about tomorrow's weather? We can talk about tomorrow's weather tomorrow. Did you say tomorrow? Andrea asked. And that's when she did the most amazing thing in the history of the world. She got up and started singing. The sun will come up tomorrow. Oh no, Andrea was singing that dumb song that she always sings. She threw her arms out to her sides and she sang the whole song. And it was horrible. After that was over, she sang another song about hard knocks in life or something. I'm not sure the words because I was covering my ears the whole time. And I thought I was totally gonna die. Finally, Andrea stopped singing and sat down. She looked at me like it was my turn to start talking. So do we have any birthdays at elementary school today? I asked. There are no birthdays today, Arlo, Andrea said. So instead, I'd like to do a little dance. What? And before I could say anything, Andrea had climbed up onto the desk and started clog dancing, which is some kind of dancing that plumbers do. Andrea takes clog dancing lessons after school. In fact, Andrea takes classes in everything after school. They gave a class on nose picking, she would probably take that so that she could be better at it than everybody else. And finally, Andrea finished her dumb dance and sat back down. Then she looked at me again like I was supposed to say something. Well, lunch for today will be macaroni and well, I'm sorry, but that's all the time we have for the announcements today. Have a great day, elementary students, and we'll see you here tomorrow. Then she started singing again. I love you tomorrow. You're only a day away. And cut, said Alexia. The red light on top of the camera finally turned off. That was awesome. That was awesome, said Miss Cuddy. That was fantastic, Andrea. Let's see what those Dirk jerks are doing on their morning announcements. And she flipped the channel to Dirk's school station. Looked like every kid at Dirk's school was out on the playground. They were all singing and dancing, and they were dressed up like werewolves. Wow, everybody said, which, is Mom upside down. That's Michael Jackson's Thriller, Mrs. Cuddy said. I've seen that video. No, shouted Mrs. Cuddy, not Thriller. Then she fell on the floor and started sobbing. Chapter 9, a word from our sponsors. It didn't take long for the bad news to arrive. Our ratings went down. Only 40 people tuned in to see our morning announcements, and 90 people watched the Dirk School put on Thriller. This is a disaster, Miss Cuddy moaned. Everything we do, Dirk does better. I must admit, I was secretly happy that our ratings went down, because if Andrea's singing and dancing had been a big hit, we would never have heard the end of it. But Miss Cuddy was really upset. She looked like her dog had died or something. It's okay, Miss Cuddy, Ryan said. It doesn't really matter to us how many eyeballs we have. Suddenly, Miss Cuddy jumped up. She had that fire in her eyes again. Well, it matters to me, she shouted. I'm not a quitter. If at first you don't succeed, try. I can't hear you. Right. Miss Cuddy must have hearing problems or something, because she's always saying she can't hear us. She should go to the doctor and get her ears checked. But she was pacing back and forth for a few minutes, and then she snapped her fingers. I've got it, she said. Now, grown-ups always snap their fingers when they have a good idea. Nobody knows why. You've got what? We all asked. We need a good idea. Nobody knows why. You've got what? We all asked. We need to get your parents involved so they'll watch our station instead of Dirk's station, she said. And I know just how to do it. When we came in the next morning, Miss Cuddy handed scripts to me and Andrea. Emily patted our noses, and the red light went on, and Alexia shouted, action. My name is AJ, and I hate school, I said. And my name is Andrea, and I love school, said Andrea. The weather today is chilly. We'll be right back after this message. And then just then, the red light went off. We looked up at the TV screen. And you'll never believe in like 1,100,000 years who was on it. It was my mother. Oh no, I groaned. Hi, I'm AJ's mom, my mother said. I want to tell you that I love you, and I'm so proud of you for being such a big TV star. And everything. Oh, and one more thing, AJ. Clean your room. It's a pigsty. Oh, snap, said Ryan. Your mom just said you were a pig. Then the red light went off again, and then back on. And then I looked at my script. Today's lunch will be chicken fingers, I read. And we have one birthday today. Darby Dearborn in second grade turns 8 years old. And now from a word from our sponsor. And the red light went off. And then we looked up at the TV screen, and you'll never believe in like a million hundred years who was on it. It was Ryan's mom. No, groaned Ryan. Hi, everyone, Ryan's mom said. Kids grow up so fast these days. I can hardly believe my little Ryan is such a big boy. Now he's working on a real TV station. It seems like just yesterday that I was giving him a bath in our kitchen sink. And everybody looked at Ryan. He was holding his hand up to his face. Oh, you took a bath in the sink. No, Ryan said. And I remember my baby Ryan was crawling around on all fours, Ryan's mom said. All he could do was burp and pee-pee and goo-goo, and I had to wipe his little bottom for him. And now look at him all grown up. Everybody looked at Ryan. He was still holding his hands over his face. Dude, is you finished? Asked. Well, the morning announcement's been on forever because we had to watch the commercials from everybody's parents. Finally, after we had all been embarrassed to death, the red light went off and it was over. And cut, shouted Alexia. Oh, that was fantastic, shouted Miss Cuddy. Your parents had to watch that. Everybody wants to see themselves on TV. Chapter 10, Sniffing Out Story. Well, Miss Cuddy was wrong because once again, our ratings went down and Dirk's went up. They did a version of my favorite show, Win Money or Eat Bugs. The Dirk teachers had to answer trivia questions, and when they got them right, they won money. And when they got them wrong, they had to eat bugs. Even I wanted to see that. No, Miss Cuddy shouted. Not again. We will beat those Dirk dorks. You just wait and see. I'll make them wish they never tangled with me. Miss Cuddy was fuming. She paced back and forth, mumbling to herself. Then she snapped her fingers with an idea. I've got it, she said. You got what? We all asked. I'll tell you tomorrow morning, she said mysteriously. When we got to the studio the next morning, Miss Cuddy was waiting outside, but the doors were locked. Are we going to do the announcements today? Andrea asked. We need to change our format, she replied. We need to get out of the studio and onto the streets. That's where the people are. Come on, let's go. Miss Cuddy had a portable TV camera. She led us across the street. Where are we going? Neil asked. We're going to follow our noses and sniff out stories, she replied. We're going to be investigating with our noses? Yes, investigative reporting. There was just one problem. The streets were empty. I mean, duh. All the kids had been dropped off at school, and all the parents had gone to work or gone home. There was nobody around. Miss Cuddy, They're like no stories out here, Michael said. You just aren't looking hard enough, said Miss Cuddy. See, this car is parked too close to that fire hydrant. That's illegal, and I'm calling the police. Dude, it's like an inch too close, I said. Yeah, I mean, what's the big deal? Asked Ryan. Miss Cuddy ignored us. She pulled out her cell phone and punched in the numbers. Hello, police department? She said, we have a crime in progress across the street from elementary school. Send the cops over right away, and a tow truck too, and hurry. A few seconds later, we heard a siren. Miss Cuddy handed the camera to Michael and told me to stand close to the car. Okay, AJ, she said. Action. My name is AJ, I said, looking into the camera, and I'm standing here across the street from elementary school where there appears to be a crime in progress. And at that moment, a tow truck and two police cars screeched to a halt next to us. Some cops got out and rushed over. Michael filmed the whole thing. What's the problem? One of the cops said. This car is parked illegally, said Mrs. Cuddy. He looked at the car. Yeah, but it's only a few inches too close to the hydrant, he said. Did you drag us all the way over here for that? The cop looked like they were going to leave. Well, people can't just park wherever they want, shouted Miss Cuddy. Don't we have laws in this country? Who are you? A cop asked Mrs. Cuddy. Well, I'm a concerned citizen, she said, and my taxes pay your salary. Criminals need to learn their lessons, so do your job. You've got to tow that car away. Cops rolled their eyes. Okay, boys, he said, tow it. The tow truck driver attached some chains to the car and started towing it down the street. And at that moment, Mr. Klutz came out of the school. Hey, what's going on? He asked. Why aren't you using the TV studio that we paid $1 million for? Well, we decided to hit the streets and do some investigative reporting, Mrs. Cuddy said. Yeah, I told Mr. Klutz. A car was parked here illegally, so we had the police tow it away. Mr. Klutz turned around and looked down the street. Then he looked at the empty spot where the car had been. Wait a minute, he said. That's my car you towed away. What? Your car? We all shouted. Oops, said Miss Cuddy. Is this some kind of joke? Asked Mr. Klutz. Of course not. A joke would be like, a library is the tallest building in the world because it has so many stories. Mr. Klutz totally doesn't know what a joke is. He went running down the street, chasing the tow truck. It was totally hilarious. Chapter 11, Breaking News. Well, I guess our investigative report didn't attract many eyeballs because Dirk's school beat us again. They put on a reality show called Killer Karaoke. Yeah, and kids had to seem more depressed than ever. She just sat there with her head in her hands. Oh, I give up, she said. I'm out of ideas. No matter what we do, those dorks just beat us every time, and I quit. What? We shouted. You can't quit, Miss Cuddy, said Riot. Yeah, remember what you told us, said Andrea. First you don't succeed. Try again. Oh, but I tried again. moaned Miss Cuddy. And again, it's no use. We just can't beat those monsters. That's when I got the greatest idea in the history of the world. I asked Miss Cuddy to give us one more day before quitting. After school, I held a secret meeting with the gang, and I told them my idea. The next morning, we were ready to put our plan into action. And action, yelled Alexia. My name is AJ, and I hate school, I said into the mic. And my name is Andrea, and I love school. Now, for the morning announcements. The weather today is... But just then, a big banner flashed on the screen. Breaking news! I'm sorry, Andrea, I said, but I have to interrupt the morning announcements. We have important news. Monsters have been spotted on elementary school property. What? Andrea yelled. And at that moment, the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. A zombie ran past the camera. Well, it looked like a zombie, but it was actually Neil the new kid dressed up like a zombie. Emily had done a great job with his makeup. What was that? Andrea shouted. It looked like a zombie to me, I said. And Mr. Klutz came running into the studio. Was that a zombie? He shouted. It looked like a zombie, said Miss Cuddy. And then Mr. Klutz ran into the front of the camera. Lock the doors, he shouted. Nobody gets out of this building. Call the police. There's a zombie at our school. Then he ran out of the room. Very paid, Andrea said. A zombie has been spotted inside elementary school. Please remain calm. As soon as we have more information. And at that moment, something even weirder happened. A vampire ran past the camera. Well, it looked like a vampire, but it was actually Ryan, dressed up like a vampire, and he was growling. What was that? Oh no, it looked like a vampire, said Andrea. Zombies and vampires have invaded our school. Yeah, but don't panic. Let's go get the story, you guys, Alexia shouted. Andrea and I grabbed our mics. Michael grabbed Mrs. Cuddy's portable camera. We dashed into the hallway. Kids were spilling out of the classrooms. Help! Some kid yelled. It's a monster attack. The zombies and vampires are taking over, yelled somebody else. Dudes, I'm too young to die. Oh, this is great, said Miss Cuddy. Are you getting all this on video, Michael? Run for your lives, somebody screamed. In seconds, the hallway was jammed with teachers and students running around and yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering and, totally freaking out. We are reporting the monster attack live, I shouted into the mic. We will stay on the air until this crisis is over. Andrea stuck her microphone in some girl's face and asked her if she had seen any monsters. No, the girl replied, but I heard a rumor that there are mutant alien zombies. And I think they're from outer space. And I heard that zombies kidnapped Mr. Klutz, some other kid said. Then I spotted Officer Spence, our school security guard. Officer Spence, have you seen any zombies or vampires? I asked. Not yet, he replied, but we can't let those monsters take over this school. We'll track them down. You're a hero, Officer Spence, I told him. Just doing my job, AJ. Everybody was going crazy in the hallways. Somebody screamed. Andrea and I ran over to the corner. There was a zombie on the floor, groaning and drooling. Well, it looked like a zombie, but it was actually Neil, the nude kid. And here is one of the zombies now, Andrea said. We're going to get an exclusive interview. And I stuck my mic in Neil's face. You've been turned into a flesh-eating zombie, I said. How do you feel? Great, said Neil. And when did you first realize you were a zombie? On Tuesday, Neil said. And what are you going to do next? Eat humans, Neil said. Well, good luck with that, Andrea told him. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Then I heard a loud bang outside. I looked out the window. It was a helicopter. It landed on the lawn outside our school. And a bunch of guys jumped out wearing body armor and gas masks and other cool stuff. Come out with your hands up, monsters, one of them shouted through a blowhorn. Oh, the army is here, Andrea yelled into her mic. Miss Cuddy opened the door so the army guys could come in. Where are the monsters? One of them shouted. They went that way, I told them. Follow me, men. The army guys ran all over the school looking for monsters, but they never found any because Neil and Ryan took off their costumes. After a while, the army guys got back into their helicopter and just left. It appears as though the monster attack is over, Andrea said. You may return to your classrooms now. Have a great day at elementary school. And cut, said Alexia. Oh, that was awesome, said Miss Cuddy. When the monster attack was over, Mr. Klutz went from class to class to make sure everyone was okay. When he got to our TV studio, we asked him how many people had watched our station and how many had watched Dirk's school station. No, Dirk station, he told us. Everyone in town was watching us. Yes, Miss Cuddy shouted, Victory is ours! We're number one! We're number one! She started dancing all over the room and laughing and yelling and screaming and shrieking and hooting and hollering, totally freaking out. Man, Alexia said, Miss Cuddy is going overboard. Why is everybody talking about boats again? Well, that's pretty much what happened. Maybe the army will find out that the monsters were just kids dressed up like monsters. Maybe Mr. Cooper will stop throwing apples at doctors. Maybe we'll buy 1,000 refrigerators and put them in the playground. Maybe they'll get life on Mars. And maybe everybody will stop thinking in boxes and talking about boats all the time. And maybe we'll rent some eyeballs. Maybe basketball players will stop dribbling all over the floor. Maybe Mrs. Cuddy will go to the doctor to get her ears checked. Maybe Andrea will stop singing a song from that show, Annie, all the time. And maybe those jerky Dirk dorks will stop eating bugs and throwing water balloons at each other. Maybe Ryan will stop taking baths in the kitchen sink. Maybe we can talk elementary into giving us another $1 million. But it won't be easy. That is it. Miss Cuddy is nutty. That's it for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed another silly story. Have a nice weekend. Bye.